key players that are in this Tennessee-Georgia game. And I'm going to make this a little bit difficult on Caleb Calhoun as we go through the list that you can check out on offthehooksports.com. At the end of this question, I'm going to ask you for the 3 most key players for Tennessee to pull an upset. So what has to happen? Which of these 10 players that we're going to talk about either has to fall flat on their face or have a magnificent game for Tennessee to be able to pull the upset? We go to the 5 Georgia players first, who you should watch against the Vols on Saturday. You've got number 5, Nazir Stackhouse. Any relation to Jerry at this point?
None that I know of. And Nazir Stackhouse does not rack up a lot of stats, but he doesn't stack a lot of stats. Because he is the nose tackle. And Dave, as you know, being a nose tackle in Kirby Smart or Nick Saban's defense is the most thankless job in football, isn't it? You have to get the most brutal push and you get no accolades whatsoever for doing it. But he is key. If Tennessee is going to run the ball, Cooper Mace has to win that battle with Nazir Stackhouse. That's crucial.
And I got a hunch you will. By the way, it'll be the Vol Report with Jacob Horn up on the YouTube channel later today. So be sure and click that like and subscribe button to make sure you're involved, and turn your notifications on as well. All right. So more we have on offthehooksports.com. Jamin Dumas Johnson. Excuse me. What?
This is a collaborative.
Sorry, I misspoke. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time.
This is a collaborative. Jamin Dumas Johnson and Smail Munden, both are good linebackers who are playmakers. I went with Dumas Johnson because he's, I think, the more highly touted player in terms of talent. He's got 5.5 tackles for a loss, 3.5, leads the team in sacks this year with 3.5. And so, again, to run the ball, Tennessee's going to have to contain him. You're going to have, this is going to be, if they can get past the defensive line and get to that second level, running backs are going to have to win some battles with these linebackers. Don't know if they will. We'll get to that when I discuss Tennessee's players, but it's crucial to deal with that.
Counting it down, number 3, Ladd McConkey. Any relation to Phil, the former Giants tight end?
No idea, honestly. Ladd McConkey is only 3rd on the team in receiving, but I'm just going to tell you guys this. Georgia's quarterback doesn't matter. Okay, Carson Beck is just there to distribute the ball because of how loaded the team is. You know what else doesn't matter, Dave? Georgia's running back doesn't matter because that offensive line is so loaded. I think you and I could get 100 yards behind Georgia's offensive line if we wanted to. So the running back and the quarterback don't matter. Brock Bowers would have been a Heisman contender to me, but he's hurt. He's playing, but he's hurt. I know he had a touchdown last week, but he was 3rd on the team in receiving. Ladd McConkey is the offensive weapon Tennessee has to watch out for more than anybody else. If they can figure out a way to contain him, and I'm not so sure they can, particularly without Kamal Hadden, they have a chance.
Okay, for the record, you mentioned his name, Bowers. I would have him on this list because I think he's still dictating a little bit of coverage. I thought that was the case last week against Ole Miss, but he is not 100%, so I understand not having him on here. Then Tyke Smith at safety, Kamari Lassiter at cornerback. How important is the defensive backfield for the Bulldogs?
This may be the greatest secondary of all time in college football history. Tyke Smith, by the way, Dave, leads the team in tackles for a loss with 6.5 and also leads them in interceptions with 4. He is the guy. The rest of the secondary plays shutdown football, and he's the guy that makes all the plays because of it. The one who causes him to be able to make the plays, though, is Kamari Lassiter, who is so good, I might put him on Kamal Hadden's level. And the
narrative changed quite a bit, didn't it?
It did. I'm joking, but honestly, I think Kamari Lassiter is, in all seriousness, I think he's a cornerback that you take in as a top 10 NFL draft pick. He is a cornerback that shuts down one side of the field, Dave. He's going to be the best cornerback he is a Darrelle Revis. This is the next Darrelle Revis in the NFL. I'm going to say that now. I think he is. And the problem is Tennessee doesn't have Brew McCoy to go one-on-one with him. So what does Tennessee do?
Yep. And we have a post on the message board. It looks like Dumas Johnson may be out indefinitely with a forearm injury. So we'll see how that
Then that goes with Smale Munden, so it doesn't really.
Say again.
I said it was Dumas Johnson and Smale Munden, so then Smale Munden would be the one.
Okay.
To go.
So we'll plug him in there. And then as for the Vols, you know these guys a little bit better. You probably know their names a little bit better. And then we'll discuss a quandary that I have. As you can check out offthehooksports.com, 5 Vols to watch. Chaz Nimrod, number 5. Will we see him develop into a number 1 type of receiver before the end of the year? I'd bet not, but it's still possible.
Yeah, Tennessee's only hope is Chaz Nimrod. I don't think Caleb Webb is ready, and Nathan Leacock hasn't seen enough action yet. So Chaz Nimrod is the guy who's going to have to somehow dictate coverage to open things up for Squirrel White and Ramel Keaton. I don't know if he can. And Kamari Lassiter guarding him, I don't see. If Chaz Nimrod has a game, then Tennessee's future is bright. I don't know if it's possible for him, but Tennessee needs him to have a game. So that's
okay,
the conundrum.
Let's break down the rest of the 5 to watch. It's on offthehooksports.com, brought to you in part by the Hemp House, the premier hemp dispensary online with a wide variety, great selection, and strict standards to ensure you only receive the best in CBD or Delta products. Go to hemphousechat with 2Ts.com, hemphousechat with 2Ts.com. Use the promo code HOOK. The promo code HOOK. Number 4 on your list, Dylan Sampson.
This is the game that Dylan Sampson has to break out. This is his time. We have talked about it all year, and it hasn't happened. Jalen Wright is banged up. He was awful last week. Tennessee, Jabari Small is a steady back. Dylan Sampson is the playmaker. It is time for Dylan Sampson to look like Alvin Kamara. Tennessee needs what Cody Schrader did to them last week. If he doesn't, we will be calling this year an underachieving year with Dylan Sampson, given all the hype everybody gave him in the offseason.
Yep. James Pierce Jr., you could insert probably a couple of defensive linemen into this, but him in particular, he is the one out of Tennessee's behind the line specialist on the defensive front that can stack up physically and would play for Georgia. Would play a lot, maybe not as an underclassman because they've got so much depth, but he is one of the guys that you look to and say physically he could play for Georgia, so he has to have a big game for Tennessee. And then you've got Jalen McCullough at number 2, and number 1 is
it's pretty obvious. It's Joe.
It's Joe Milton. I'm sorry.
It is Joe Milton. This is it for Joe. There's no SEC East on the table. He's not going to be back next year. I doubt he's going to play in the bowl game. Vanderbilt's the next week. You got one last chance to make a massive statement and be remembered in a very positive way for Tennessee if you go out and ball on Saturday. I mean, if you're Joe and you still have NFL draft stock to look forward to, if you're Joe, you put everything in this game, right? I mean, you should be the whole way to describe your college career comes down to this game, and everything about your draft stock comes down to this game. So can Joe do it? This is it. This is his chance.
Now, Travis asked, and he's right on the message board, going back a little bit, what the H they won't run him. It's not Sampson's fault. Listen, Sampson was completely lost in the Florida game. I don't even know if he was on the sideline. They forgot to play him. And then last week, I thought when Jalen Wright got hurt that they threw out Sampson. And I'm wondering where Jabari Small is, because at that point early in the game, I would want my bigger backs to hammer a defense. So I don't know what's happened with Jabari Small, but I will agree or echo Travis's statement. I believe that Tennessee has not done a great job of handling their rotation of running backs. I think their running backs are so good that they've overcome that, quite frankly.